There's no denying the recent success of Fall Guys and Among Us have come at probably the best time they could have. Not only have these games helped create hilarious entertainment, sort of like this channel, don't forget to subscribe, but they've helped keep friends and families together across entire continents. Games like these have proven time and time again that the one thing that can make any game insanely popular is simplicity, or rather deceptive simplicity. Now you're probably thinking, Jack, what are you talking about, you chunky knobgoblin? Deceptive simplicity can be defined one of two ways. Here it means something that at a glance seems simple, but has depth or complexities under the surface. Games that feature deep systems and experiences can be very niche, instantly filtering out certain potential players. RTS games such as Stellaris or Crusader Kings 3 usually have a steep initial learning curve because from start to finish, that's how the game is. That's not a bad thing, that's what those games want to be. But that's maybe why less experienced players aren't as likely to play them as they would be Super Mario Party, vice versa. How simple a game is depends on how the player interfaces with the game and how obvious the player's goal is. A simple game isn't a game with no depth at all, save that for Cookie Clicker. Minecraft, a relatively unknown title, is simple. You walk about, eat a bit, and build giant dirt dicks. First you make a stick. Brilliant. Then you drop a stone on there and boom! Stone sword. Your jaw drops as your mind explodes. What sorcery is this? You exclaim as you speed build the Millennium Falcon from Harry Potter and the Lord of the Jungle with functional sticky pistons. That's deceptive simplicity. By taking a simple base mechanic and adapting it to offer just the right amount of depth and complexity, Minecraft took the world by force. Of course, there's the whole difficulty of making something fun, and that's an entirely different can of worms. From what I can tell, popular simple games such as Among Us, Fall Guys, and even Pac-Man hold strengths in three key areas: accessibility, replayability, and gameplay ability. Gameplay, as we all know, is all about actually playing the game. The old game loop. Will you be running around picking up sticks and talking to Bianca for the first time in 4 months? Or will you be running around, exploring, admiring the world? This is also where a game's systems are designed with a sense of depth in mind. How much of that gamer effort does it take to understand and take full advantage of those systems while also hooking them in? Simple on its own doesn't equal fun. Rather, there's a balance between the two entirely different concepts. Fall Guys and Among Us are very minimal gameplay-wise, but that helps rather than hurts. Accessibility is taking the game and assessing how difficult it is for someone to play or want to play the game, regardless of their gaming experience, skill, or how much G Fuel powder they pump into their veins. If little Timmy can't get a grip on how to play Pokemon, chances are he's gonna go outside. Of course, there's always a learning curve, but it should be balanced to maintain the player's desire to get better. Replayability's all about. Oh, what the fuck? Replayability is all about how likely someone is to stick with the game or even keep coming back to play it. Whether something is replayable is entirely based on its gameplay and accessibility. No one wants to play a game that's too convoluted or nobody knows what the fuck is going on. Specifically, identifying how monotonous the experience is important to know if somebody would want to replay it. Games like Fall Guys and Among Us, because of their game loop, naturally take care of this by being fun and shareable experiences that allow players to get back into the game with their friends quickly when you win or lose. You want people to keep playing your game, just like EA wants you to keep buying FIFA 19. These three areas can help produce a game of a certain simplicity that is equal to those three areas combined. Of course, like I mentioned earlier, simple doesn't equal fun. It's a balance between two entirely different concepts. A game can be complex and fun, just as a game can be simple yet boring. A simple game on its own isn't enough for it to automatically become popular. I mean, Among Us came out 2 years ago, and that took an entire pandemic for the world to even realise. So what does make a game popular? Shareability.
Gamers share, well, pretty much any old piece of...
This is Dark96.
But how do you make what they're sharing stand out? Make it visually striking, easily recognisable, and quick to understand with little context. This is hugely important for games in the indie scene as they wear their hearts on their sleeves, but sometimes, after all that time focusing on actually making their game, they forget to mark out time to market their game. Getting people to understand the concept of your game with very little context is surprisingly difficult. If you can manage to do that, then randoms will begin to understand what they're actually seeing. What do you see here? Character design, colour, many players, obstacles, a consequence, and a direction indicated by game design. Takeshi's Castle meets Mr. Bean. You just discovered the entire point of Fall Guys without being explicitly told. The same can be said about Among Us with the imposter kill button. When somebody looks at something, they're constantly analysing it, which is exactly why you want to give them enough information for an accurate assessment before they move on to worshipping Cyberpunk 2077 for the 2077th time. Not all games can be conveyed like this. There are games with simple gameplay but depth somewhere else. Undertale's concept isn't really that obvious from a single image or a quick clip. Instead, that depth is in its personality and content. And what's the best way to show off a game like that?
It's no doubt that gaming creators have become one of the most direct and simple ways to advertise, well, pretty much anything. Sometimes it can be quite annoying.
Hello?
Hello.
What are you...
Raid Shadow Legends! Raid Shadow!
Creators can share experiences that bounce off the personality of a game, whether that's through quick montages, full let's plays, or entire live streams. Either way, not only do you have the creator's attention, you have the many viewers too. This is a great way of sharing and showing off those more deceptively simple types of games where the depth is not immediately obvious to the viewer. The context is there, and so is a reliable hook. Undertale has simple gameplay apart from the fighting, which is amazingly original, and judging the game alone on that isn't enough to grab the more hardcore 360 no-scope gamers! I went so Somerset! Creators alone were able to present this game and its overly charming personality, dope-ass soundtrack, and deep plot to thousands, if not millions, of viewers across the world. But that's not to say that it was all thanks to YouTubers and Twitch streamers. Toby Fox has been well known in the community long before that, but there's no denying it certainly amplified it.
There are many games that play on the idea of simplicity, whether it was accidental or intentional. Fall Guys, Among Us, Undertale, Stardew Valley, Minecraft, Subsurface Circular, Phasmophobia, and let's face it, PT. It's important to remember that making a game simple isn't enough for it to suddenly just blow up. You need to focus on making your game fun first. It also doesn't matter how accessible your game is if nobody's there to play it, so make sure you market your game on its strengths too. Show that your game's simple enough for larger audience bases to get into, but deep enough to keep players from getting bored after a while. Going out of your way to make your game deeper for the sake of adding depth can actually go against your game rather than help it if you don't keep its mechanics in your mind. For indie developers, compromising between gameplay and ambition won't only help you identify what kind of game you want to make in the first place, but it'll actually help you get your game finished. But most of all, remember, keep it simple, stupid. There used to be a sofa there.
Well, that was embarrassing. Thanks for watching. Special thanks to all my patrons for your support and to those who would like to. Link is down below. Make sure you're subscribed for more Dark Dax otherwise. I'll kill him.